Hey, this is Chris Drury. I'm going to take you through some thinking on close reading. This is the process I go through with almost every text that I put in front of y'all when I'm doing a session for the district, but also the way I would do it before putting a text in front of my students. So the close reading we're looking at this time is Dead Man's Turn from the English 1 textbook. It's a short story by Jessica. You can see her there. Tell you that the annotation strategy I'm going to use is notice and note for all the reasons I suggested. And I would tell my students each pass, like on each read, just notice this signpost or just notice this signpost. So this first read, I've noticed that there are tons of again and again moments in this. There are also, and you'll see them highlighted as I go throughout, there's a memory moment, an aha moment, there's definitely a tough question moment, and there's a contrast and contradictions moment. So those each come up individually, but I'm not going to call those out. I'm just going to go through and look at the again. And so you can see right here, the first one is highlighted, the sinking sun shown almost directly in front of her, threatening night with each passing minute. So as I highlight that, I'm going to add a note again and again. And one of the things I noticed after reading this, vocabulary, the sun is repeated. Vocabulary, what does it say? Threatening is negative connotation. And I'm going to save and close that. And as I come through, the menacing sun. All right, okay. That's another one. I'm going to use the same highlight color. Add note again and again. Neg connotation. Sun. Save and close. Keep going. Have your breathing increased? The brightness of the sun seemed to intensify. You get the idea. And so I would add the same note. I'm just going to highlight here because I know where it's headed. And then as we go through, here we are, the blinding sun again. Hey, the word blinding has come up more than once. I'd probably note that in my notes. Already sinking in the sky here. And you can see one of my highlights here already. And it may not let me do a double highlight. Oh, yeah, it will. So that one, I can have the two signposts that I noticed there highlighted. And then no sun in that paragraph. As the sun continued to beat down on her, it's beating her now. So again, negative violence. Moving on. And that's kind of the end. So I get all of that. All right, that's great. I'm going to go over here. What am I going to do with this connotation? So as I make my notes for planning, I copy all of those lines into my 3-column chart. I'm going to use E.6. It's actually from the English 2. This is one of the release standard under inferences about fiction. What purpose does the description of blank in paragraph blank serve? So that's the release stem. And what I'm going to format it to say is, what purpose does the repeated description of the sun throughout the text serve? And what is the author doing with this personification is going to be my follow-up question when my students don't understand what I'm asking, or they need clarification, or an EB doesn't understand. So the sun is clearly being personified as malicious. Repetition is being used to call that. I could write another question around repetition, probably look at some of the poetry questions in the past for that, but maybe fiction as well. There's author purpose standard I could ask around this. Definitely under the author, the E8s. If I went down to language where it talks about figurative and descriptive language, that standard would also apply here. So that's kind of just one step, one question. I would go through again for those other moments. There's a memory moment. I could ask flashback question and plot, nonlinear plot about that. Character development happens around the aha moment and the memory moment and the tough questions, right? And even the contrast contradictions at the end. So there's several things that you can annotate for in your next section. But this is the process I go through. You don't have to use notice and note. I just feel like with our mobility in our district, the fact that it's in our textbook and that it's so research based and tested and used throughout the nation, it's really a good one. And I think it captures most of what our students need. And if they memorize just that, the signposts for fiction and nonfiction, they're going to get like 80 to 90% of the texts that they see on the test. And then poetry is the only outlier, really, and it could be adapted if we really pushed. So anyway, that's this video. I hope it's helpful for you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for completing this course.